Morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School, back down here at the Pathfinder Outdoor Classroom. What I want to do today is I want to start a series of videos called 10 Minutes to Better Land Nav. So I'm going to break these down into 10-minute segments so they're easy to digest. I'm going to start with kind of the basics of this stuff and move ahead a little at a time. 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 videos. Each one of them will cover a different aspect of land navigation to help you be a better land navigator. We just finished a land nav intensive class out here last week with 21 students, something like that, and they did very well. There were a few hiccups and a few things that were a little harder to learn within that learning curve. And so I thought maybe a series like this would help people go back and look at that after the fact, as well as people who weren't able to take the class can look at these type videos and get some educational value from them. Because that's really my intent with YouTube, is educational value more than anything else. So, 10 minutes to better land nav. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to discuss 5 items that you should have on your person all the time, even if it's just a day hike, a hunt, a scout, a fishing trip, anything like that that you're going to recreate on trail and away from main roads. You need to actually have these 5 items with you in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so the first one is a compass, and we're going to discuss compasses, different types, and advantages and disadvantages in a minute, so you can make a more informed decision. A map, and I mean a paper map, not a map that's downloaded to your phone, although you can have those as well. We'll talk about those in a minute. But a paper map is always a good thing to have with you of the area that you're going to be recreating in. A notebook of some sort, and again, you can use your phone to take notes, but your phone can die, so that's last on the list. Some type of paper notebook that you can jot notes down into is going to be preferable. And it can be something as small as one of these miniature Write in the Rains that doesn't take up any room at all, and just a small waterproof pen to go with it, and that's fine as long as you have something to take notes on. A waypoint marker. A waypoint marker is just something that's highly visible. It can be something as small as this square cloth here that's black on one side, orange on the other. This one is Kevlar material. It's a camp rag that's made by Super Essie straps, and it's a great waypoint marker. It's loud and proud, and it's pretty big. Waypoint markers allow you to not lose your last known point of origin. So if you are on an azimuth or traveling on a bearing, and there is a difference between those two, an azimuth is an angular difference from 360. Something that you shoot on a compass and plug a number in, that becomes your azimuth, your angular difference. Once you are walking on a certain number or in a certain direction, that becomes your travel bearing, okay? So if you are traveling on a bearing and you are preparing to shoot another azimuth, or you want to explore an area before you decide which direction you want to go, hanging that waypoint marker somewhere visible to you in a tree or what have you, that now you can walk around and explore to decide which direction you want to travel next, or find a resource that may be close to that area, then come back to, you have not lost your known point of origin that's on that travel bearing. And that's important so that you don't get off to the left or right of the azimuth that you're trying to accomplish on that bearing, all right? And then a GPS or a phone. And I would say either one is fine as long as that GPS has maps and things like that, technology on it, like your phone has. But most phones have a GPS program that you can plug into them. I use Mill GPS, which is only for iOS. You can't get that program for Android. And there's also Gaia. Gaia is also a very good program, and I use that a lot in this last 20K that we did out here. Video that we shot yesterday, and the video is going to post later on today, part 1 and part 2. We use Gaia to track our movements. It's a good program as well. So that GPS phone may be your preferred method, but there's going to be times that that phone's not going to work properly, or it's going to die on you, and you may need to use other methods, and that's the purpose of having this stuff. And I'm going to show you what that looks like, because it's less than you think it is. I mean, you're looking at this much stuff. That's everything we just talked about. A waypoint marker, a compass, a map, a notebook, a pen, and my phone is on the tripod currently, but my phone will be in my pocket. So that's as complicated as your nav kit really needs to be in its simplest form, okay? So now that we know what 5 items we're going to carry, and we can talk more about all of these in future videos as we go, but I think it's important to cover that first. Now let's talk about compasses, because what type of compass you carry is important as well. Now, granted, if you have a GPS program on your phone, you have a built-in compass on your phone. So that is your backup compass, all right? Then you want to carry something else with you. Now, there's several different things that you could do. You could carry just a button compass. And a button compass is just one of those small compasses that you buy anywhere, similar to this one, but without the bezel ring. The only thing that compass is really going to do for you is it's going to give you a cardinal direction, most of which you could get fairly easily without it on a sunny day. However, if it's not sunny, it will give you a cardinal direction. The next type of compass would be the one that I showed you, which would be a compass with a bezel ring on it. And the only thing that's going to allow you to do really is to walk a straight line, because you have a way to lay this compass out, let the needle settle to its magnetic north, and then dial in the north on top of that needle, or put the needle in the doghouse and walk keeping it there. The degree readings around this compass are very small, very inaccurate for anything, a map reading or anything like that. Even shooting an azimuth and giving a number for a travel bearing to someone else, they're terrible for that. However, they will allow you better to walk a straight line, so there is a reason to carry something like this if that's what you choose. The next level would be some type of a mirrored base plate small compass like this. So a small base plate mirrored compass. This one is a Silva. The first ones of these that I ever had, that I actually gave to some of my instructors, were Brunton and Silva mix. And they came from a pilot survival vest, and a lot of them had numbers engraved in them, like serial numbers engraved in them. The last 4 numbers of their social security number were engraved in the compass. So these were used by the military, so they were trusted for things like emergency navigation. And really that's what it is, an emergency navigation device. It has some numbers on the bezel ring, but it's not real tight numbers. Like, you don't have 2-degree increments on this thing like you have on a larger base plate compass. And again, because it's small, you don't have the accuracy you would have with something larger. The smaller these things are, the less accurate they're going to be over distance, because you have a larger margin for error. That's what's important to understand. Is there something wrong with this compass? Absolutely not. It works very similar to a larger base plate compass. You can lay it on a map and things like that, but it's not going to be real accurate as far as the degree readings go if you're trying to plan a route that you're going to plug in after the fact, shoot an azimuth, follow a travel bearing. You can do that with this compass. If you're going to transfer information that you've taken off of a map and you're using this to plan a route, it's not going to be very accurate. Sorry, the next compass that we're going to talk about is an orienteering compass. And an orienteering compass is something like this Brunton. It's a base plate compass that doesn't have a mirror on it. A compass like this Brunton orienteering compass is very good if you're looking for speed. It uses what's called circle over circle design. You can see there's a circle in there under the north arrow instead of a doghouse, okay? So you've got 2 different circles there, a circle on the north and a circle on the bezel ring. It does have adjustable declination on it as well. So it will allow you to adjust for declination, which we'll talk about later. And this is really the first compass that will allow you to do that of the ones we've talked about so far. This one you can actually adjust your declination in. The difference with this is this compass is really made for, I have a bearing already. I've planned a route on a map, or someone's given me a route. These are my degree readings. I want to plug that degree reading into the top of the compass, put circle over circle, and I want to go. I'm not going to be shooting any azimuths on the fly. I already have those azimuths planned out, and I'm going to travel those azimuths. That's where this type compass really shines. The last level is a large base plate mirrored compass like this Sunto MC2, and these are the ones we use at the school. You can use a Silva Ranger, you can use a newer Brunton. Any of those base plate mirrored large compasses like this will work, all right? What you have here is you have a mirror so that you can actually shoot an azimuth. You have needle in the doghouse with glow in the dark on both sides of it for night navigation. And it's very accurate in its degree readings for not only planning a route on a map, but also for shooting an azimuth. If someone gives you an azimuth to travel, it's very accurate to shoot that azimuth and go, so that instead of trying to travel an azimuth for a long distance, I can actually shoot an azimuth and find something in that line to close the compass and go. We'll talk about that more as we go. But this is your most accurate type compass to use for navigational purposes, whether it's map or on the fly. Just to backtrack and reflect for a minute on what we've done here so far, okay? We've talked about the 5 tools of navigation we should have in our kit all the time. And we've talked about 5 different types of compasses that you can readily get, that you can use for navigation, and how each one is used differently than the other, which one is the least accurate, which would be the button compass, which one is the most accurate, which would be the large base plate with mirrored type compass like a Sunto MC2 or the Silver Ranger. And then what these compasses in between will really do for you. And that's important to understand, because depending on what you want to do, you may choose a different compass. I may choose this compass here if I'm just planning on running around the woods and I don't have a map. If I've got travel bearings that are already planned out, I may use this. But if I'm going to adjust things or shoot anything on the fly, or I'm going to use my map and compass together in the field to plan routes, then I'm always going to choose this large base plate compass with a mirror. Okay, guys, I hope this only lasted 10 minutes, might be 11 or 12. We'll find out when it's over with. The goal is to get this done in 10 minutes. We're going to move on to another video and talk about using these devices to become better navigators. So I hope you enjoyed part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, for our business, for our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.